Welcome back, everyone, to another exciting installment of the Jibber Jabber podcast. I'm your host, DrapPep. I have a video premiering at 7, so this episode's not going to be that long. I started at 6:10 p.m. and another video is premiering at 7, and I'm recording this on Saturday, which means that my opportunity of recording this and getting it uploaded and ready for Sunday, the window's really very, very close here. But I also need to start recording a bunch of these because there's an event coming up, and I won't be able to record these. So in order for me not to miss any days, I'll have to pre-record a few podcast episodes. Now, I don't really have much planned, but I have decided that perhaps every for the next, I'm going to say 3, maybe 4 podcast episodes, I'm going to do something that people have told me is their favorite part about the podcast. I'm going to talk about myself. I don't know why people love it. People love hearing stories about my past. And, I figured I need to start recording a lot of these. And by the way, reading takes a lot out of me. So I'm not going to start reading 3 or 4 podcasts worth of dialogue. That's too much. But I will talk about myself. I am a narcissist. I could do it. I say that jokingly, by the way. I do feel like I have some narcissistic tendencies, but I don't think that I'm fully developed narcissist. I think anyone that creates a YouTube channel has to have a little bit of narcissism to them. Yeah, to think about it, they have to record for hours each day, edit that video, upload that video, and be able to be like, yeah, you should watch this. This is really good. You have to advertise your own stuff and tell people it's great, which means that not only are you listening to yourself constantly as you're editing all of your work, but now you have to tell someone else to watch it and tell them how good it is. Something that you made. That's a little narcissistic. And I'm not necessarily saying that in a bad way. I'm saying that in order to make it in this industry, you have to have at least a little bit of narcissism. You have to be able to sell it. You have to be able to tell someone that oh yeah, this thing that I worked on, it's really great. You have to sell that. That's the whole point. You have to sell yourself. And so I jokingly say I'm narcissistic, and I do that a lot. So here's a little bit about me. All right, a little bit about me. I definitely, by the end of these 3 to 4 episodes, you're gonna know a lot about me. I was born in October, which is awesome because my favorite holiday is Halloween. Unfortunately, I was not born on Halloween, but that would have been cool. That would have been cool. No, I was born on October 21st, 1991. And to be born in the 90s was so cool. It was so cool. I know a lot of people were like, oh, I was born in this year and that was cool. No, you don't understand. The 90s was cool. The internet was on its way. CD players were becoming a thing. DVD players were just coming up for the first time. And cell phones were becoming new. You don't understand. The things that everyone takes for granted, like cell phones and Netflix and all, we didn't have that back then. So when it was coming out, it was new. It was for the first time. And the excitement for it was real. The hype was up there. Nowadays, it's ugh, whatever. Let's just stream something on TV. No, man. No. Back then, we had to watch TV with commercials. Commercials. Do you realize how aggravating that is? And what's funny, it's coming back. And people are like, oh, Disney Plus has commercials now? Hulu has commercials? Yeah, I mean, you could pay more money to not have them, but yeah. And that was a norm. That was a normal thing. And they weren't a minute long. No. They're 6, 7 minutes. All right. And you can't skip them on YouTube. You can't skip these. They're commercial breaks. And sometimes the commercials were cool. Sometimes they were cool. They were entertaining sometimes. Other times, not so much. And it's wild that I come from a generation that commercial breaks were kind of like white noised out of our brains. Like the moment that commercial breaks came up on TV, our brains went blank. We went into la la land for those, 5 to 7 minutes. And now people are in this generation who are, watching TV and they see an ad break, they treat it like it's like an outrage. Yeah, that was kind of like a norm for my generation. It's fine. Don't worry. You'll get over it. No, I won't. Not if I get an ad blocker. Ah, you're one of those. Ah, I see. But what was cool about the 90s was that like we had the N64, a Nintendo 64. And I know what you're all saying. Oh, well, the graphics got better since then. Yeah, yes. But you have to realize that, and you can look this up, there was a technological boom. There was a technology boom where things were like not just progressing a little bit, they were rapidly aggressively progressing. Like they started off with VHS and then what felt like to be overnight DVD players. All right. We went from 8-bit video games to all of a sudden like poly with N64, and like it just kept progressing where it felt like you couldn't keep up. You had pagers, and then all of a sudden there was cell phones, and then there was texting, and then there was we went from dial-up internet to regular internet at 99. Like it was cool, it was awesome, and including how the internet worked, what was rapidly changing. You started off with the internet where it was pretty much like, oh yeah, welcome to AOL. You can email your boss. To then like, welcome to a chat room. You can yell at each other here. It's like, oh hell yeah. And just that joy, just like, oh fuck yeah. I'm gonna yell at my friends. I'm gonna cuss them out. I mean, I guess you could have done that with emailing. Um, but here's something that has been lost over time. It has been lost over time. And I've tried getting people into it. No one's into it. Nobody cares about it. There is a vibe, okay? There is a vibe that the 90s babies know about. The 90 kids. And I'm okay 80s, but there's a vibe. And here's the vibe. Back in the day, once upon a time, long time ago, back in the day, you had people who would write letters, and they would send it off into the mail. It's like, oh, it's on its way, and you'd wait for the mailman. Like, oh, I wonder when that letter's gonna get here. I can't wait to see what my friends had to say, because like calling wasn't a thing yet. That's how far back we're going. 1800s. We're going, and you would wait for the mail. And you get to finally get word, the juicy gossip, the tea, all right. And then being able to call people was the thing. So then calls kind of made mailing obsolete. And then you had emails, and emailing was kind of cool because you see, emailing was like mailing a letter. You had to wait for them to respond. You know when they were going to respond, but you knew eventually they were going to respond. And I guarantee you would check that email every day. Every day you check and see if they responded yet. Because you didn't know if they read it or not. So you had to wait for them to read it first and then respond to you. And then later on you had chat forms where it was instantaneous. And then you had Messenger, which was instantaneous. And that kind of killed the email. But here's something that Messenger can never compare to emailing. Okay, Messenger, yes, it's instant. You can get a hold of them pretty quickly. Texting, okay, it's instant, so you get a hold of them quickly. But an email, you can take your time with an email. And the amount of things you can attach to an email was nearly endless. It was infinite. You could attach a photo, a video, and send it. And then they can download and save it and send it to someone else. Now you're probably thinking to yourself, well, I can do the same thing with Messenger, and I can do the same thing with I just slide into their DMs and message them that way, direct message them. Yeah, you could, But you see, there was something that you couldn't do, and that was forwarding an email. And it's not the same thing as copying and pasting. No, no, no. Forwarding an email was literally taking the email from the original person and just passing that along. And it was called a chain letter. And it's called a chain letter because it started off with handwriting letters. And what would happen is someone, as a joke, would write down about a fake scenario about how like this girl drowned in the river because she received a letter and it said to send it to 15 of her friends and she didn't. And if you don't send this to 15 of your friends and tell the story, then you're going to drown in the river. And so you'd get so scared, you'd get real scared that you'd write 15 of these letters and you'd send it out to all your friends. And then you're like, whew, I avoided the curse. The curse didn't get me. And then they would have to send it because now they have the curse. And that was like an early day trend. And then when emails came along, then the number got bigger and bigger. You gotta send this to 25 of your friends. You gotta send this to 50 of your family members, or you're gonna get cursed. And people believed it. This wasn't like a joke to some people. People believed it. People were genuinely scared to open their emails out of fear of a chainmail, because then people start hiding it. People start hiding it saying, hey, have you heard about this? Or like, hey, I just found this online. I was wondering if you were interested. And it'd be like, boom, gotcha. Now you got to do it, or you're going to get cursed and you're going to die. And your family's going to be miserable. Got him. Got him. Now you got to do it. And you see, that kind of fear doesn't exist in Messenger, because you message someone and then you get word back, and then you can message someone else to verify it, and then like you'd get instant like, no, that's not a real thing. But with emails, there was no one you can ask. You can email someone and be like, hey, have you heard of this message? And then like you wouldn't hear back from them for a couple of days. And like, here's the key, here's the kicker. The chainmail would have a timer to it. Like you have 25 days to like send it to someone else or you're going to die. And you're like, oh no. I can ask someone, but I don't think they're going to get back to me in time. I have to pass this along or I'm going to die. And you don't, that kind of fun doesn't exist in messengers. You can't get that on Snapchat. You kidding me? I kind of would wish, because like I have Gmail, I have emails, and I don't have a reason to use it. I don't. Other than making new accounts, I don't have an actual need of an email. Like when I would apply for jobs back in the day, no one ever like asked me, by the way, I'm going to send you something in your email. No, man, they're just going to text it to me. They're not going to email me shit. They're just going to text it to me. There's no actual need for an email. And that's kind of sad. We have a service in our disposal that we do not use. Now, I know, of course, there's people who like use it professionally. That they're like, oh yeah, I like to use this for my business and like I'll email people. But like, here's the thing. There are now more and more industries that are using apps for that purpose, right? Kind of like how back in the day people were like, would you want to Skype and then we'll go over the business details? And people were like, nah, I don't like Skype. We'll meet in person and talk about the business details. And now there's people who are like, would you like to meet up in person and go over the business details? Nah, we're going to use Zoom because that's more professional. And that's what I mean. Like, there's more and more like, I can't name any off the top of my head, but there are now apps for team building and businesses that people are using those instead of emails. They are. And I'm sure a lot of people can make an argument of like, well, I still use emails. Congratulations, grandma, grandpa. You did it. You're part of the few people. Now, of course, when I was going to college, I had to use the email. But that's because my professors were really dumb. And I mean that. They knew a lot of things, but technology was not one of them. I went to a community college, and if you asked anyone, they would have been like, "Oh yeah, no, those professors don't know jack about jack." They, I remember when the pandemic happened, and all the professors had to like use Zoom call meetings. First of all, they couldn't get into work. And then like when we finally would get in class, the professor would be muted for like a good 10 minutes and we'd have to wait for them to figure out how to unmute, or like they would put their assignments online and then the assignments would be locked by accident. So the pandemic really showed that like our professors did not know anything about technology, not a single thing. It really showed that. And that's why I think a lot of the professors used emails, because that was something that they knew. And yeah, a lot of those professors were old. Now, the younger professors, the ones in their 40s and 30s, they knew technology. They were able to like when the pandemic hit, I noticed the younger professors were not affected, but it was the older professors that unfortunately were affected by the pandemic. And that goes to show that like things like emails are in the past. And things like Messenger, Zoom, and some of these other apps, that's the way of the future because it's faster and it's instant and it's convenient. And as AI grows, artificial intelligence, I'm now seeing it like in banks where they're now using AI to like you go through your bank account and make things more convenient. And they're making like AI a part of your everyday life. At first, at one point, schools were like, if you use AI, we're going to kick you out of school and we're going to like discredit you. And I'm now starting to notice more and more schools who are allowing AI. Why? Because AI can be an effective tool. You can use AI to actually proofread your messages and your papers, where like instead of turning in something that's not grammatically correct, you can have AI reword it to where it is grammatically correct, and then you can send in something that was in your words but is functioning. Like, who cares? You're in this class for math, not grammar. Who cares how you spelt it? As long as your math equations are right, which, ChatGPT can help with that. But like, I feel that if AI can help with your grammar and your wording, who cares how it's being sent? As long as you're not like telling it to write your paper, which you can tell. In case you're thinking about cheating completely and using an AI to write your papers completely, trust me, you can tell. It's sappy as all hell. Like it's awful. Instead, you should have it write your paper and then reword it in your own words. That's how you could properly cheat. It's kind of hard to call you out on something that you wrote. It's in your words. I now realize I said I was going to talk about myself, and I've now went on for a very long time about online AI and emails. But like the thing is, I still think that emails should be something that we can go back to. I feel like emails, because like a lot of people are kind of like, oh, Facebook, they steal your data. All right, do you want to go back to emailing then? I'm cool with that. I don't care. I tried at one point. I did try to like get people into doing emails, and like, why? I don't know. Sounds like it could be fun. It's the same thing. It's the same concept practically. With emails, you could just mail each other, and it's you can attach memes, you can attach videos and links. You can send it to one person or a group of people. Emails are essentially what Facebook is in a nutshell. Except here's the difference. Here's the real kicker. On Facebook, you can post something on your wall and it shows up on a feed. And then all other people can see that and be like, "Ooh, that's pretty cool." Yeah, it is pretty cool. But like more than 80% of what I see on Facebook is like ads and memes from companies. Like, I don't actually see any of my friends' posts. I don't see anything like I don't know what my friends are up to anymore, because I see other industries and companies that will quite literally talk about what they do, and I never get to see what my friends are up to. And it's almost like, okay, if you really want me to know what you're doing in your life, you're probably better just emailing me or texting me. But like, and I say this with a hatred in my heart. If you expect me to know what's going on in your life based on your Facebook post, kindly go fuck yourself. Because there's no way I would actually know that unless I'm stalking you. If you want me to stalk you, okay, but at least give me the courtesy to tell me that. Don't make a post on Facebook and assume that I'm going to know what's going on in your life based on your Facebook post. And same thing goes with making videos on the internet. I make a lot of videos about myself on the internet, and I don't assume someone's going to know what's going on in my life because I made a video about it. How what's the word? Potacious? Brotacious. That's the word right now. That's my word. Brotacious. Bro, how brotacious of you. How brotacious. I know we're supposed to have a word of the day. Word of the day is brotacious. But no, for real though. If you make a video about what's going on in your life, or you make a Facebook post about what's going on in your life, you do not have the right to be upset that nobody knows what's going on in your life. Don't sit there and be like, well, I made a Facebook post about it. You should have seen it. Bro, like 80% of what I see on Facebook are ads. How am I supposed to see your particular post? Unless you were to like tag me in it, which don't, okay, that's another thing. Don't tag me in things. Don't tag me in things, okay? Every single time that someone tags me in something, it's with like 90 other people I've never met before. Unless you and I did something and you posted a photo of us doing said thing, okay, tag me in it. I was with you when that happened. Tag me in it. I would like to see the photo. I would like to see what you said. That's cool. That's fine. That's a good tag. Like, because that says I was with this person at that time. Yes, we were. Thank you. Thank you for tagging me in that. But if you take a picture of your stupid pet and you tag me in it, I'm gonna block you. I'm going to block you. I'm gonna first of all, I'm gonna block you and the 90 people you tagged me with. Unbelievable. Unbelievable behavior, tagging 90 people in a post that they had nothing to do with. Unbelievable behavior. And I know a lot of people have told me in the past of like, well, it was advertisement and I needed help. Or, well, I thought it would be something that you were into. Okay. There was a better way of going about that. Here's the thing. On Facebook, you have @highlight. That will go to their notification box, right? So it would be a post that they will get notified about because it'll highlight it, but it won't tag them in it. And the reason why tagging is so annoying is that when you tag someone and then someone leaves a comment, well, guess who got a notification of that comment? Cool. Thanks. Because my life wasn't such a hectic trash that I need to see everyone's comment on your trashy post. I'm going to be mean about it too. I really want this to sink in that DrapPep hates being tagged in posts, alright? If you tag me, if you have to tag me with 90 other people, guess what? Your comment was trash and your post is trash. Alright? Just let that sink in for a little bit. That's how DrapPep feels about it. Alright? That I am putting my DrapPep seal of approval on it. Your post is trash if you have to tag me with 90 people in it just to get notifications. Trash. I have posts on Facebook that I never had to tag anyone in with like thousands of views, hundreds of likes, okay? It's because I'm interesting in your trash. Have I offended anyone yet? Has that gotten under someone's skin? Because I really want that to actually genuinely hurt. I want that to hurt. Why do I want that to hurt? Because it's about time someone said it, okay? Stop tagging us with 90 people. There is no reason to tag us in a group like that. Same thing with the people who start, okay, now we're getting into this. We're getting into this, okay? We're getting into this. Same thing with the people who create group chats with like 50 other people that we've never met, we've never talked to. Don't do that. Do not do that. I'm going to block you. If you put me in a group chat with like a group of people that I've never met with, and this isn't like DrapPep page. This is my personal page, my first and last name. This is someone like these are people that I thought were my friends, and then they find out that like, ooh, he's got like 60,000 followers on TikTok. Ooh, he's got like a thousands of videos on YouTube and like 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, and they will use that against me, and they will actually put me in like chat rooms and like, oh, this is DrapPep, my friend. Blocked. And then like I'll get like invited to like group chats with people I've never met before, and then people will like sometimes I will start talking to people and like I'll hit it off and I'll be like, "Oh yeah, wow, hey, you're kind of cool. Do you want to be friends?" And like, "Yeah, let's be friends." And like I would be like, "Okay, you know what? Maybe I was wrong. Maybe I was wrong about this." And like I'll give these people a chance. And like I'll start to like the community a little bit. And then you know what happens? I get kicked from the conversation. Why? Because they were focused on me and not the person who made the chat. How narcissistic do you have to be to create a chat that you invited me to that I never asked to be a part of? You never asked me if I wanted to be a part of it. And then the moment that people gave me more attention than they were giving to you, you kick me from the chat. What was the point? Why did you even do it in the first place? Oh, because I made that chat so I can talk about my stuff. That's what it's usually about. That's what it's usually about. It's usually a bunch of people who come together and they're like, "Oh yeah, I just wanted to like advertise my YouTube channel." And they'll make a group channel on Facebook just to advertise their channel. But then the fact that we don't pay attention to their videos and they'll pay attention to me instead because we're just vibing, they will delete the entire chat because we weren't talking about their channel. Are you fucking high? Are you actually kidding me? That was what that whole thing was about. I thought you were just trying to get us connected. I didn't know you were trying to like okay, remember beginning of the podcast, remember when I was talking about how like there's the healthy kind of narcissism where like you have to have a little bit of narcissism to like enjoy your work, and then there's that. And then there's that. Then there's genuine narcissism. Then there is legitimate narcissism where everything has to be about their channel. Everything has to be about their videos. I've met so many people like that because like I like to network sometimes. Not always, but sometimes I like to network and meet other YouTubers. And the amount of YouTubers I have actually met that I still know that are genuine narcissistic is to the point where it's vile. It is putrid. And they will like enter conversations with me just to only talk about their content. And because of that, now I don't really like talking about my content. Every single time I start a new project, sometimes I'll like kind of be like, oh yeah, I started this new project, by the way, it's about this. And then like all of a sudden in my mind, I can hear these narcissists that I know. I don't want to call them out, all right? I'm not going to call them by name, but I've got like a few of them. And I will hear them and I'm like, I don't sound like that, am I? Do I? Do I sound like that? And like instantly I'll stop talking about my projects and I'll move on. And a lot of my friends will then ask me like, why do you keep doing that? What do you mean? Well, why do you keep starting off talking about your projects and then you never finish? Like, oh, I just didn't want to like make it seem like I'm a narcissist. And it's like, no, we actually want to know. No, that's okay. No, it's alright. I don't want to talk about it actually. I changed my mind. Let's talk about anything else. Let's talk about Star Wars. Let's talk about that instead. I don't want to talk about it. It's funny. It's like I don't want to be a narcissist, so I don't advertise my channel. I haven't advertised my channel in years, by the way. I have not. Back in the day when I started in 2015, 2016, I used to advertise it to everybody. strangers, didn't matter. I'd be like, hey, check out my channel and subscribe. I used to have business cards and I'd hand them out. Now I don't do that. Now I don't advertise anymore. Every single time someone's like, oh, I think I'll check out your channel, I'll actually tell them not to. I'm like, that's okay. You don't need to do that. Like, I'm so... Dealing with these narcissists has put me in a state of content denial, is what I like to call it. It's where I make content, but I'll deny that I do it. And I blame the narcissists in my life. I blame the ones that overly advertise because I'm so afraid to look like them that I will not advertise. In fact, I will do the opposite of advertise. I will beg people to not look at my channel. And even though a lot of people tell me that, like, oh, but you're so funny and like your content's not that bad, why don't you want me checking out your channel? They don't know. They don't know that I have genuine narcissists that are toxic about it. And if by the way, they're not watching this. They never watch my content. So I know I'm safe to talk about this kind of stuff. But in case you are watching, you think it might be you? It probably is. It probably is. I don't know. I don't know if they're actually watching or not. I don't think they are. One of them has never seen any of my videos. One of them. Not a single one video. And like, they've told me, they've told me to my face, they will literally go on and on and on about their vlogs and about their travel vlogs and like how much they post on Instagram. I'm like, oh, that's cool. By the way, I'm about to do this. And like, oh, that's okay. I don't actually watch your content. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Why are we friends? I think I did a video at one point where I did that, where I was like, oh, actually, I don't watch your videos. And I was just like, all right, okay. I think I've done maybe 3 or 4 of those videos where it was me talking to like another person, and that other person was like being mean about it. Those were real conversations I've had with other narcissists. That was me reenacting. I almost said reincarnating, reincarnation. But like that was me reenacting those conversations. And like sometimes people are like, I don't believe that you've ever had a conversation like that with somebody. I'm like, no, I have though. No, but for real, I have though. I have had those conversations with somebody. They're real. Those were real conversations. And like the reason why I don't make as many is because those conversations are the only ones that like I've kind of had. There's others that I've had with these people. And here's the thing. The reason why there's not a lot of those videos coming out where I'm reenacting old conversations is because I actively try to avoid them. I actively do not talk to them. And like one of them I literally had just recently blocked. I couldn't stand the audacity of the narcissism with that motherfucker. I remember one of them blocked me, and that was like I was even mad. I was super glad. I was so happy that happened. It was like back in 2019. We were talking. I'm going to talk about this. I'm not going to say his name. I'll never forget his name. But we were talking, and there was a moment where they were talking about like starting an organization for people that are facing abuse. And one of the things that they said was that depression was a choice. And I said, I don't think you should start this organization. I don't think you should do this. And they were like, how dare you say that to us? I was like, depression's not always a choice. There's this thing called clinical depression where it's out of your hands. You can be happy one day and then super not okay the next. And they blocked me. And I'm glad they blocked me. I'm so happy they blocked me. I never want them in my life. I never want them in my life. Anyone who says depression is a choice, feel free and unsubscribe. Feel free and genuinely walk away of my life. Please and thank you. Walk away. Unsubscribe. Unfriend me on Facebook. Never talk to me again please, the people who are actually that way, there was so many words I was going to say that I forced myself not to. I'm trying to keep somewhat cordial. Another thing I'm trying to fix is my cussing. I'm trying to like widen my vocabulary so I'm not cussing all the time. But like, things I can't stand are people who are saying that depression is a choice. And I do believe that there are people who choose to be depressed. I do believe that there's cases where that's a fact. But I also do believe that not it's not fair to just blanket term depression is a choice for everyone that has depression, because you don't know what they're going through. You don't know what they have to face day to day. So you don't have the right to say that. And vice versa, not everyone who has depression is going, you know what? I think I'm going to be sad today. Today is the day that I choose to be sad. Yeah, no, kindly go kick rocks, honestly. Because the thing is, there like I had mentioned earlier, there is clinical depression where that's just out of your control. You need medication because your brain don't work. That's not nice of me to say. I'm sorry. But it's kind of true. Your brain is not producing enough chemicals for you to feel happy. And I'm not saying everyone that has clinical depression is in that term you're unable to be happy. So it's not just you're this or you're this. It is a spectrum when it comes to clinical depression. And it's like stats in a character sheet where you have a certain amount of percentage of you becoming sad greater because you have clinical depression. And the medication, the only thing that does, do you realize what medication for antidepressants do? A lot of people think it's just like, oh, well, it's going to make you sick. And it's like, yes, but no, also. It's people, okay, I feel this is not, I've now realized this podcast had nothing to do with me. I have spent less time talking about myself in this episode rather than me talking about everything else. But here's the thing. Real talk, okay? I don't do this often on my channel. I don't know if I don't do it enough or if I'm doing it too much currently. We'll find out when it premieres. We'll find out if this was a good path or not. People, and I say this with a heavy heart, people who badmouth medication and therapy are the worst kinds of people. And that's my strongest opinion. People who look down on others because they seek help through therapy, first of all, you don't know what they're going through. Same message to the people who look down on people with depression. You do not know what they're going through. You do not have the right to say that depression is a choice, and you do not have the right to say that, oh, you're seeing a therapist, that means there's something wrong with you. No. No. Shame on you for thinking that. And the same thing goes with medication. Just because they're on medication, you do not have the right to treat them like they're going to snap, that they're rapid. They have things going on in their life that you don't know about. And the medications they have, that's so they can like function. Okay? Medications is a beautiful thing. Therapy is a beautiful thing. That I picked a side. This is a hill I'm willing to die on. So yeah. The fact that they blocked me, I'm happy. So glad. So happy and glad. Oh my god. No, for real. No, but for real. I'm so happy and glad. So yeah. That's my 2 cents on the matter. I know I've now rabbit trailed so far. Don't worry. I know where we are. I don't appreciate people that tag me mass tags on Facebook, like with 90 other people. Hate that. I'm gonna block you. I don't like people that add me into group conversations with people I've never met or spoke to. Hate that. I'm gonna block you. And I also do not like it when people say depression is a choice, or that they make fun of therapy, or that they look down on people that take medication. Hate that. Don't like it. All right. So I guess technically those are some things about me that you've now learned. I'm pro therapy. I'm pro medication as long as it's not like self prescribed. I'm also pro not uh, adding me to a bunch of tags and group messages that I don't know about and don't wish to know about. And I miss emails. So I guess technically, yeah, you kind of learned a whole lot about me in this episode. It took me a while to get to these points, but we got there together. This was a journey that we went on, all right? We got there together. Um so yeah, back to my story. I started off with I was born in October in Downey, which is in LA. I do not remember being born. What okay, it's kind of let me reword that. I don't remember living in Downey. Of course I'm not going to remember being born. That'd be weird. But like I don't actually remember anything about Los Angeles. All right? I was too young at the time, and we moved because of the for a couple of reasons, but one of them being the what's it called? The Rodney King Jr. What's it called? Rodney King Jr. Rodney Downey King Jr. um it was the riots because I was born in 91 and the riots broke out. So we left, well, my mom's sister and I left for safety, and my dad stayed behind because my grandparents had property in Downey, and he was just keeping an eye on it. But the National Guard came in and like shut down the roads. You know what? I'm going to do a podcast with my dad tomorrow because he remembers a lot of what happened during the riots. And I think that would be an interesting podcast to bring him on here and have him talk about the riots. All right. Okay. Next episode, that's what I'll do. I'm going to have him talk about that. But here's another thing. I've mostly lived in Orange County most of my life. And in within the Orange County district, I have lived in Newport, Huntington, Costa Mesa, and Dana Point. And I don't know. Orange County is kind of like its own atmosphere because I've lived in Oregon as well, right there in Cottage Grove. And I think I've lived there for like 5 years. Uh, and the atmosphere is different there too. See, in Orange County, you have a lot of people who are like definitely surfers or skateboarders, bike riders, right? You have more of the like, what's up, bro? What's going on, homie? Yo, what? Right? Like, it's not like we're trying to put on a front or anything. That's just our lingo. And like the more closer to the ocean you get, you definitely will meet those people that say cowabunga. You will. There's not as many anymore as there were in the 90s, but there's still people who are definitely what do they call them? Surfer cats. Like you'll find them. You will find them down there. And the difference between there and Oregon is the lingo is completely different. And I remember like when I first moved to Oregon, meeting Oregonians was different. It was really first of all, meeting Oregonians and then finding out that they hate Californians was a surprise. But I remember the first thing I noticed was the oxygen. It smelt sweeter. It felt sappy, like icky, and not in a good, not in a bad way, but in a good way. And I remember it would when I first moved there, it was like constantly raining. And somebody at one point told me like, "Oh, well that's the beauty of Oregon. If you don't like the weather, like wait 15 minutes and the weather will change." And they're not accurate, but they're not wrong either. The weather does change pretty frequently in Oregon. And it was the year I moved out in Oregon, it was like the record of the most heaviest snowstorm that they got, to where like the high school roof collapsed because of so much snow. And that was like the worst year to move to Oregon. I was living in a fifth wheel trailer, and if you live in a fifth wheel trailer, or if you've ever lived in a trailer, you know that that cold goes through those walls pretty easily, actually, pretty easily. It's fiberglass walling, which means that there's no insulation. You feel whatever the temperature is outside, that's what the temperature is going to be like inside. And there would be like times where I'll wake up and my drool would be frozen to the pillow. Like I had to actually pry the pillow sheet off of my face because it was stuck on my face. And I'd get like a little red mark on my cheek because like, yeah, no, it was awful. It was really bad. And I remember like just being sick and tired of the cold. But here's the thing. The way that the cold works is the same way the heat works. And I'll tell you what, I hate the heat. I do not exist in hot weather. I get injured pretty easily. There's this one show, it's called Farscape, and the one of the creatures, aliens, are called peacekeepers, which the word Viltrumite, do not remember which show the Viltrumite Empire comes from. I'm gonna like Google this after the podcast to figure out where Viltrumite. I don't think it's Farscape. Viltrumite. Where is that from? Oh my god. This is awful. I do not remember where the word Viltrumite comes from. I know the more I say it, the more I'm convinced it's not Farscape. I'm like scared to open up my phone because I don't know. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. I was not on TikTok. Sometimes I'll just, turn off my phone while it's still on TikTok, and then when I reopen it, there's TikTok ready to blast as loud as it can through my speakers. And it always, every single time, it catches me off guard. All right. I am currently on Google with my phone. Uh Veltramite Empire. Oh my god, it's from it's from Invincible. No, it's definitely not Viltrumites. It's from Invincible. I was like, oh, where's that from? Where's Viltrumite from? Is that from Farscape? No, you dingus. It's from Invincible. What was the Peacekeeper race name? Because I do not think Sebaceans. That's it. Okay, Viltrumite. So in Farscape, there's this alien race called Sebaceans, which are peacekeepers, and they do everything except peacekeep. They do everything but that, and they treat themselves like Galactic Police Force, and they're really not. And so the Sebaceans, they're weak against the heat. Like once the heat hits them, they like start to die slowly, and that's what it feels like for me. Like when I'm in warmth or the heat, I feel like a Sebacean dying. It's 6:59, which means I'm gonna have to end the podcast now because I have somewhere else to be here in a couple of seconds. But I I look forward for the next few podcasts to be like this because it's kind of like a new direction from what I'm used to doing. And we'll see how me sharing my thoughts on particular subjects plays out. There's a part of me that doesn't like causing strife or like waves with other people, but I feel like I hadn't talked about anything that I wouldn't back, away from the podcast. Like the things I've said so far in this episode, these are things that I will willingly say to people's face. Like, yeah, don't tag me, don't add me group messages, and depression is definitely uh not a choice. These people who are saying depression is a choice, it's not. I will die on this hill. I strongly will fight it. I hate hearing that. All right, well, now I definitely have to go. So thank you so much for everyone who's joined to listen in on this premiere. Thank you to everyone who's showed up after the premiere to watch it. And I'll catch everyone in the next episode.